Hi, this is Steffi from Steffi's Beads and Baubles. I thought today I would do a tutorial on basic beaded charms. I will be doing a few projects here and there that will include beaded charms, and for many of you that's something you've done a million times, but for those of you just starting out, it can look intimidating, but it's very, very easy. So I thought I'd show you just kind of what I'm talking about. And these are just beads and findings, well, not findings, spacers, but mainly just the beads. You can do 2 or 3 and any color. This is really a no rule type of thing, just what you like. You can use fancy beads, you can use simple beads. There really is no rhyme or reason. It's basically your taste and the materials that you happen to have on hand now. So let me put those away and show you what I'm talking about. So to do this project, you need a few basic tools. These are double rounded pliers, which most people use to do their beaded charms. It's for looping your wire. Some people use a fancy tool like this, and I'll maybe approach that in another video. There's also this type of looping tool, which is much harder to find, and the only reason I knew it existed is my husband started me out way back when with one he had found at a yard sale years before, and when he found out I wanted to do jewelry, he said, "Hey, why don't you try this?" I never knew about the double looped ones till years later. Picked one up, but just kept using this. And then later on, about 5 years ago, I found a brand new one. And so I kind of retired the old one. But recently, I have been trying to use this because I found that it really is a great tool. And probably should have been using this a long time ago. I always do have a pair of pliers on hand. And then another tool that's handy to have is this plier with the plastic coating. It helps you to straighten out your wire if it's a little bit twisted or wonky, because you really want a straight wire when you're making beaded charms. Now this tool, this tool, this tool, and your wire cutters, you can find them all at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I'd say $7 to $10 each, and if you buy one at a time or bring a friend, use your 40% off coupon, and you get them even cheaper. And I've had these tools many, many, many years. Oh, we're talking 15 maybe? A long time. Now I do have a more expensive pair of pliers for flush cutting, and that's something I'll do in another video as well. If you're making jewelry findings, say ear wires, jump rings, clasps, you don't want it to be pinched on the end, and when you cut with these it tends to pinch it, which doesn't matter if you're making a looped beaded charm. It really doesn't. But for an ear wire it has to be flush. So I bought these flush cut for quite a bit of money on Amazon. I think they're about $60 or $70, but that's not something you need right now unless you're going to do the findings. So to get started, you basically just need a selection of head pins, which are just your basic, let me get a couple here. They're a basic pin. They sell them in the jewelry finding section. They have a flat head, kind of like a sewing pin that you pin your patterns with, the kind that don't have the ball top. They have the flat. It's exactly what they are, except they have no point. And they're softer metal and easier to cut, because head pins, or the pins used for sewing, are very hard. They're almost like a memory wire, so you'd need a special cutter for memory wire to, if you wanted to use those. But you can buy them pretty cheap. I know I get a package of them when they have the half price sales at Hobby Lobby for like $1.50, and these are the long ones. They have gold. You can get gold, silver, antique brass, and even copper. And I'm going to use a combination right now because I just had to order some head pins because I'm kind of low. I've been doing a lot of stuff lately, so it's time to replenish. So you take your head pin, whatever color. These are about a 2-inch length, I believe. Yes, these are 2 inches. You can buy them anywhere from 1 inch to 3 or 4 inches. I tend to use the 1.5 to 2 inch the most, but I like having up to 3 inches when I'm doing longer projects that I need a longer pin for. So you start with that, and then just get a selection of beads, whatever you have. I take apart old jewelry and get beads that way. I buy strings of beads when they're on sale, and we're lucky here in Texas that they have the bead market come through a few times a year, and it's just like a giant room of beads, and they're very, very cheap. And I think they're Oklahoma and maybe Louisiana too, I'm not sure, but they're just in our area, but that doesn't mean there might not be one similar in your area. However you get your beads, taking apart old jewelry, buying beads at the bead store, just get out what you have. And there's no rhyme or reason, no right or wrong. It's totally up to your taste. You can use big beads, small beads, shaped beads, round beads. It doesn't matter. But you got to make sure that they'll fit on there and that this will not go through the hole. I'll show you what I mean. If it's too big of a hole, then you'll need to get yourself these little beads here. These are called 6/0 or E-beads, and they sell them even at Walmart. They're just like a giant seed bead. But when you put that on, then it holds the bead on. Of course, you'd match the color more than likely. This is not matching, but I just am trying to show you. You can get them in clear, you can get them in white, in pretty much any color, pearl. I have them in every color, and I do use them for this. And you sometimes can use a seed bead, but I've actually had the seed bead go through the hole as well. So if you absolutely want to make sure, then just get a tiny bead of your choice. It can even be something like this, and you can even buy these in a smaller size than this, and you just layer like that. And then you can put another one on top, or you can put another bead on top, whatever you like. Like I said, there's absolutely no right or wrong. You can't do it wrong. It's your taste. So once you've decided that this is what you want to do, this is the beads you want on there, then you take your rounding tool and you're going to get that up here, and you're going to bend it back a little and then roll it around. And then what I do is I eyeball about where it's going to fold in, and I cut it there. If you cut wrong and it's too long, it's no big deal. You can cut it again. It's not a big deal. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and I still sometimes miscut it. So then you just kind of round it around, and you kind of bend it back and forth to get it looking nice. Let me show you kind of what that looks like, if I can get it to face you right. Okay, should look kind of like a teardrop. And sometimes if you bend it back far enough, you can actually make a round. I tend to do the teardrop. Now this top bead has a large hole, so it's not holding as well. So I'll show you a couple more. But that's what they look like when they're done, kind of a teardrop shape. And you can tuck it down in the hole if you want. That's what I prefer to do. I think it looks more finished, and I think it will hold on to whatever you're putting it on much better. So let's do another one. I'll do a silver pin this time. They're a little long. I just ordered some shorter ones. And we can take something fun. We'll do like a teardrop shape bead. Do a teardrop on there, and that fits on the pin beautifully. In fact, most of your beads will. And I also have these cute little spacers that you can buy pretty much anywhere. And sometimes they fit good, sometimes they don't, but let's give it a try. So let's say, since this is yellow, we'll put a green. And then that little spacer kind of puts a spot in between them. Now that top bead's a little big. I probably wouldn't normally do that. I'd probably do something a little smaller. Let's see if I can find something a little smaller. This is a lot smaller. It's hard to do this through a camera. Okay, see, that's more in proportion. But here's the deal. If you like the giant bead on top, go for it. There's no rules. My preference is a smaller bead on top. Doesn't mean I'm right, it just means that's what I like. So if you like a big old bead on top and a smaller bead on the bottom, it's fine. You can do a big bead on the bottom, a little bead on top, or reverse it. This is what it would look like if it was reversed. Or you could put the drop the other way too, but there's no right or wrong. Whatever you like. That's the fun part of making your own jewelry. And that's the thing. If you like this drop and you have 2 of each bead and 2 of the spacers, you can make a pair of earrings. And the best part of making your own jewelry is you can make a pair of earrings for every outfit you have. And no 2 have to look alike, because you can use all kinds of beads that you take apart jewelry and get. I mean, I've gotten these fun beads from, I believe this was from, my mind just went blank. It's a company online. They sell party supplies and stuff. I'll come up with it, but they sell a lot of beads. And so you can put all kinds of beads on there. But here we go. I'm going to do this one, and I'll show you again how I loop it. And I go back a little bit. I bend it back. And then once it's bent back, I lean it forward, pull it forward, kind of figure out where I'm going to be tucking it in, and I cut. Try to hold on to the wire when you cut, because it will fly across the room. I've had it happen hundreds of times, seriously. Then you bend it in, try to tuck it into the bead. If it's a little crooked, or if you just can't quite get it in there, you can use the little pliers. Then you kind of snug it up with the pliers. See, this one will not tuck in because the bead is too little. So you just get it as tight as you can. And then there's your beaded charm. So that's how you make beaded charms. You can add a jump ring on there, or you can put a lobster claw on there. And if you want to do a jump ring, you can do that, or you can simply open it back up, hook it on to whatever you're going to hook it on, and close it back up. Whether that be an ear wire, a chain, it doesn't matter. You can just pop it open, put it on, and close it back up. I usually do not put jump rings on beaded charms. I just hook them directly to the chain or the ear wire. Some people like to use jump rings, and if you want to use jump rings, you can. If you don't know what a jump ring is one of these. And you can buy them also at the craft store, and you simply take your plier and you get a different plier. You really should have 2 pliers. You open it up, you put your ear wire in there, and you close it. Or if you're going to, obviously you're going to hook it onto something, so you leave it open long enough to hook it on the chain or whatever you want to hook it on, like that. But you can use jump rings. And you can also hook a tiny lobster claw onto that jump ring, like I did here. Let me show you. See? I did that directly on the bead, the beaded charm, but you can actually put a jump ring and put the lobster claw on that as well. It gives it more of a dangle effect. I like the lobster claw look on certain pieces of jewelry. I think it's kind of fun that instead of putting it on the ear wire the old-fashioned way, you can clip it on with the lobster claw, or you can change out your bracelet charms if you want. It's kind of popular right now, and you can actually buy a bunch of charms like this with the lobster claws already on them, such as, let's see, I had some here, such as these I got at Hobby Lobby. And these, they were set with some charms. So that's another way to go. But that's it for this video. I'll be back with some ways to use these beaded charms. If you have any questions, just ask me and I can do another video and show you whatever you need to know. I apologize because my videos are still not very good. Guys, it's a lot harder than it looks, videotaping yourself doing crafts, especially when you don't have an editing tool. But thanks to Brenda over at My New Me, I think I might have a place to go get a editing tool. So thanks, Brenda, if you're watching this. I'm going to go over there today and see if I can get that on my computer so I can start editing my videos. But I appreciate you coming by. I appreciate you watching. If you like this video, if you could hit the like button, and if you want to see more of my videos, if you could hit the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. And if there's something you want me to show you how to do, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I will be happy to show you whatever you want. So if you have suggestions, put it down in the comments and I'll be happy. But I've got a couple other projects I hope to get on in the next day or so. So thanks again very, very much. Bye.